Hello, I'm Teacher Joko. Essay feedback on into some time for, in this case, someone I've reviewed several essays for. Several people have. Project Z. Z, you know who you are, and you're almost there. Z demonstrates a lot of the typical hindrances or obstacles that people in the 6.5 club suffer from, meaning they get 9s in some parts of the IELTS, like in reading or listening, but then are stuck in a 6.5 in writing. That's the 9.6.5, 9/6.5 club. And let's see how you've improved. Okay, well, let's first look at what it is that we're looking at today. And that would be kids today, a dubious situation. This comes from my IELTS classroom blog, recent reported questions. Okay, remember this is a reported question, not an official question, or even a constructed question by Shelley. Is it Shelley? Is that a knock at my door? Huh? And this is what you posted. Double part question. Okay. Number 18. In the general training questions, young people today are often less polite and show less respect than previous generations. Why do you think this is? What can be done to solve this problem? Okay, so it's a reported question. Okay, and it did not include this part is in every task 2, even in general training. Okay. Well, regardless of how accurate it is, some things remain the same, like underline the key words in the question. So for those of you learning at home, following along, do that now. Pause and underline what you would think. It's right on your screen. Just write on the pen what you think the key words are. Okay, that's enough time. Young people, that's one thing. Today is another thing. Often. Now, after you've underlined the key words in the question, ask yourself the WH questions. Think about it like you would a newspaper reporter who was reporting this as a story. What are the key undeniable facts in this question? Okay, what kind of question is this? Who are we talking about? When? Where? What is the question asking you to do? And what key qualifying words are there? These are words that restrict the topic or define the topic, and the way you're supposed to answer it. So, okay, then those of you ask these questions, answer them. You seem to think it's a double part question. It's not a 2-part question. It is actually a situational essay. Okay, a causes solutions. Situational essays are one of the 5 major types, and they provide for a relatively straightforward paragraphing. So who are we talking about? No, I read that and I thought, is it young people today and previous generations? Not necessarily, because young people are the actors here. We don't want to focus too much on previous generations. So young people is who we're talking about. When? Today. Where? Well, everywhere. It doesn't restrict it. And what is this question asking you to do? It's asking you to describe the causes of the current situation and the solutions. Key qualifying words would be words like often. Now, you don't want to spend too much time talking about the premise, okay? Young people today are often less polite and show less respect than previous generations, period. That is not to be challenged or talk about how true that is or demonstrated. But you do need to show that you understand that sentence. And often is different than, say, always. And less polite means that they're somewhat polite, but not as polite as people used to be. Okay? What can be done? So they need to be plausible solutions. And it's kind of odd that they chose the word solve. I would say address or mitigate. They can solve the problem. Now, I, being a smartass, would probably come up with an introductory paragraph like this. Older generations have complained about the declining civility of successor generations for a very long time. Okay, now I'm taking the question itself and flipping it around. Okay, Instead of, I begin with older generations. In this essay, the causes of this cultural trend will be examined and suggestions will be made in an effort to counter that ubiquitous refrain of kids today. That might be a bit informal, but it tells what the essay is going to do, okay, and so the person knows what to expect. And it's got some interesting, it's got some grammar constructions like the present perfect, have complained, future tenses or future forms, will, and passive constructions, and some vocabulary like ubiquitous refrain. Okay, so this is what Z gave us today. Okay, first thing I do is I put it into a site called wordcounter.net. 336 words, that's fine. About 55% of them are unique, so there's not that much repetition. 13 sentences. Longest sentence is 50 words. Ooch. Shortest sentence is 11. 26 is a bit on the long side. It would take you 30 minutes to write this. Keyword density. Time is mentioned 6 times. Media 5. Others, generations. Be careful with some of this. Respect others. Those 2 words together are used 3 times. Older generations 3 times. Let's look for where those are. Here we have what Z wrote. Okay, I didn't put it in the key, but yellow represents lexical resources. Orange, task response. Green, grammar. And blue, coherence and cohesion. Tools for self-correction and revision. I meant that for a purpose. You can see the screenshot I put here. This is my computer's Grammarly add-on to my browser, automatically putting these grammar things in here. And you'll see that I point them out too. But if you didn't have me, this can give you an idea as to where some of your mistakes are. Okay, youngsters. Avoid the word youngsters. I mean, one of the main topics that people talk about in IELTS is children and families. Children, young people, but it's youth. Youngsters it seems to be very, it's English. Youngsters in current times lack basic manners. They do? We just showed that the question was that they express less respect and politeness than previous generations are. Do they lack? Okay, avoid youngsters. Lack versus less. They're less respectful. They don't lack respect. And giving respect to others. This essay will argue. Okay, good. You did what I did, and that's fine. I mean, that media. Media is one of those words that always is preceded by the. The media. We'll argue that the media is influencing the behavior. Has influenced, I think would be better there, the behavior of young adults. And the most viable solution is parents. That's a good collocation there. Parents must spend more time with their children. Now, in a situational essay, good collocation, I underline things I like. Solutions that are presented should address the causes that you mentioned previously. So in our causes, we're going to talk about young adults, but in our solutions, we're going to talk about parents and children. That's going to be a difficult connection to make. Let's see what you do with it. Body paragraph 1. Okay, don't neglect that first opportunity to link paragraphs. What do I mean by that? Well, there's a natural place to bridge. Okay, what did you finish with? The most viable solution is parents must spend more time with their children. Okay, what I mean is influencing. So try to find a way to connect the last part of the conclusion. If you say, this parental supervision must take the person, is in contrast to how many young individuals spend the majority of their time today. Okay, so find a way other than just firstly or on one hand, but find a way to connect the last thought of the conclusion, of the introduction, to the first thought of the body paragraph. Make a bridge. There is no cohesive devices between your paragraphs here at all. I'm not saying use on the one hand, because it's definitely not for a situational essay. Spend majority, the majority, peoples, better yet, leave it out. Okay, peoples with an S, with a apostrophe S on the outside, meaning peoples is plural. People is plural for person, so it would show peoples would be a misplaced thing. But better yet, we know we're talking about people, right? We're not talking about animals. So youngsters, there's youngsters again, often get exposed to content that shows rude behavior. We don't need peoples there at all. As a result, young adults start believing that it is not wrong to be aggressive and disrespect others. Young adults start believing that it is not wrong to be aggressive and disrespect others. Okay, now, is this about what they believe or what they do? This is a really clunky sentence. It's awkward and wordy. So, as a result, young adults begin to act more aggressive and disrespectful to others. This believing that it is not wrong. Awkward and wordy. So just say what they're doing. Okay. For example, a renowned Indian reality drama. Well, that's better than a recent study showed that. Okay, so that's better. A renowned. Do we need to mention it's Indian reality drama show? Famous actors? Can we be more general? So say, for example, fighting and misbehaving amongst famous actors is more prevalent in reality TV shows than ever before. Something like that. Make it more general. Doesn't have to be Indian. Consequently, public, that's definitely not the right word. Be aggressive and disrespect others. Okay. It's not wrong to, well, you want to change this whole thing, but it's not wrong to be aggressive and disrespectful to others. Okay, because this is to be aggressive, to be adjective, and to be adjective. Put the same type of word on both sides of the and. Consequently, public, who consider these actors their idols. I guess that's plural, right? People are following. Yeah, plural are. Following in their footsteps. And that unkind behavior has become common. Unkind behavior, impolite behavior, rude behavior. However ridiculous I think this opinion is, and I do think that blaming reality TV, are people so susceptible to that? I don't know. I would have approached it differently, but the thing is that you have presented your opinion and you have supported your ideas with some relevant examples. That's what you're supposed to do. So this paragraph is well supported and does what you're looking for in task response. So, good start. Body paragraph 2. Don't neglect any opportunity to link paragraphs. So now here we start paragraph 2 and we have no cohesion between the last paragraph and this one. So again, look back at the last one. Yeah, okay. That unkind behavior has become common. Okay, well, to this predicament. We can combat this rude behavior. Mention specifically what you mean by this predicament by linking it to the last bit of the paragraph before it. A long term should be hyphenated. Long term should spend enough time. Enough for what? Enough is not the right word there. Should spend more time. with their offsprings. Apostrophe S. Ooh, definitely avoid offspring unless you're talking about animals. Right, with their family, to teach them values. Okay, now, as I said before, you want your solutions to address what you brought up in the causes. Rarely is that not a good idea. And here we were talking about young people and social and reality TV, and that's going to be solved by parents spending more time with their children. This is to say, now that's a cohesive device, you're using one, but when we use that, we are saying, in other words, or restating the idea that came before it in a different way. So it's not that this is to say, it's if. This is a different idea. Now you're creating a consequence, which is a way to support your idea, but this is to say it's not restating what came before it. If a mother and father increase the amount of time they spend with their children, it would give them an opportunity to not just teach politeness and good demeanor, but it would also allow them to see what types of media their children are exposed to. Good point. For instance, okay, now examples need to be examples of the preceding point. And so here our example is not about people taking time off their busy schedule, a mother and a father. It's about family dinners, big family dinners, where they, who are they, older generations, would tell the tale of Cinderella and Robin Hood to teenagers. What does this have to do with teenagers? You kind of really go off the rails here at the end about in paragraph 2. What I mean is it's incoherent. And Robin Hood and teenagers, there were lessons of kindness, showing respect to others. What happened to our and tale of Cinderella and Robin Hood? To teenagers, there were lessons of kindness and showing them respect. Your commas don't replace conjunctions. Cinderella, Robin Hood, Cinderella spelled wrong, Robin Hood, all these should be cut, Robin Hood should be 2 words. That were lessons, not the lessons. Now, these tales teach respect and politeness. Sneaking away off to the ball because of your evil stepmother and robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, that's real kindness, politeness. If you don't mind, would you possibly give me your money? Yeah, not a relevant example. This results in the older generation being more considerate to each other, which has nothing to do with young people. This reads as older generations being more considerate to other people in the older generations. Which is off topic. Okay, so in conclusion, I'm not going to read it, but your conclusion is one long sentence. It seemed like if you read it, inclusion, in comparison to older generations, young people these days lack politeness and show less respect to others when they're exposed to unrestricted media that reflects in their negative behavior, and parents spending more time with their children to teach them about good manners is the only answer. There's your 50-word sentence right there. Okay, break it up. It seems like your conclusion is you're trying to escape and get away from the essay. I'm done. Get me out of here. Now, I'm working on formatting the band descriptors, the new band descriptors from May of 2023 into a chart, but I'm still having some formatting issues. But here are, let's forget 9. Let's look at 6, 7, and 8. Okay? And sorry for the bad formatting here. So to get to 7, the main parts of the prompt are appropriately addressed. Yes, I'd say you do that. A clear and developed position is presented in the first paragraph. Main ideas are extended and supported, but there may be a tendency to overgeneralize. More than that, a lack of focus and precision in supporting ideas and material. Yeah. Okay. But I think it looks more like this. Main ideas are relevant, but lack clarity, while some supporting arguments and evidence may be less relevant. The Cinderella. So if you had 2 body paragraphs like the first one, it would be a 7. But that second body paragraph and the glass slipper, and the fact that it doesn't address the causes, would drop that to a 6. So is it 6.5? They don't do that. Okay, in the other parts, we're looking at a 6 here for cohesive devices because there really aren't any. And the ones that I see, like, that is to say, aren't used correctly. But good news, a 7 here and a 7 here, maybe even an 8. Whoops. Okay, so even if you can get your 7, 7, 7, 6, 7, 6, you're almost there. You're almost there, Z. Keep it up and avoid some of the bad habits. You are improving. Don't use youngsters anymore. And your examples need to address the point that you've made. If you want to use an example that addresses the topic, but not the same way that your opinion does, then say that clearly. And you need to include examples in the essay, but not necessarily in every paragraph. So before you start using Cinderella and Robin Hood, if you can't think of anything better, and it did seem like in your essay, when you got to the end of the second body paragraph and the conclusion, you were like, gotta get out of here! And you rushed it. So clean that up, and I think you'll do well.